You know, today concludes our offseason in an official way, but certainly there's more work to be done. That's the general messaging we left with the team. We just really kind of laid a foundation through this work for 2025, teaching guys and establishing how we go about business, the things that we do to build our environment that creates a space where we all can get better. We emphasize things like physical conditioning preceding anything else. And so now they go off and they continue along those same lines, skill development relative to their position, and just getting ready for Latrobe. This was a football-like environment. When we get to Latrobe, it's going to be a football environment. And so there's a difference. We respect that. This work has been good, but we measure the quality of this work or how it tees us up for the real football journey that awaits. But I'm appreciative of the efforts, the participation, the energy brought. It was a good process. I'll pause for questions.
Obviously, you have roster turnover every single year, but how has this year been a bit of a different challenge going through this entire voluntary program and then minicamp?
You know, I don't view it as a challenge, to be quite honest with you. It's a pleasure from my perspective. I love the multitasking associated with our roles this time of year: talent acquisition, division of labor, development of schematics, player development, coaching and coaching staff development. I just love all the components of the Get Better process.
I know you usually ask the rookies to come in highly conditioned. For a big guy like Derek Harmon, Y.A. Black, is that cardio? Is that lifting? How do you want them to?
I describe it as conditioning relative to their positions. And so, you know, for guys like those guys, conditioning means one thing, and for KJ or Caleb, it means something else. And so they all know what it means because we've been afforded the opportunity of playing football over the last several weeks, and they get a sense of the rigors of their roles. And so, and then they've also had an opportunity to work alongside veterans and see the additional work that they do to aid in the preparation. And so, you know, our goal is to kind of define it for them and to teach them, but they're going to be gaining big time understanding about that and a lot of other things continually throughout this process, particularly for the young ones, as you mentioned.
Mike, are there any injuries that you anticipate lingering or affecting participation in Latrobe?
No injuries worth mentioning or things that could slow down our progress in terms of reporting football camp.
Mike, do you expect TJ to be there on July 24th?
You know, I'm not going to get into speculation there. You guys know what negotiations is about. I'm optimistic we're going to get things done because we got two sides that want to get things done. When that's going to occur, I do not know.
You've been in communication with him this week?
There certainly has been communication with him and communication between he and I, but I have no intentions of sharing any component of it with you guys.
After 1 year, you're going back to the afternoon practice in Latrobe. What made you shift away from it?
Wasn't hot enough last year. To be quite honest with you, heat aids in the development of physical conditioning. It makes it a more stressful environment, and that's what we go to camp for. We go to camp to get better, and if it's a little bit more miserable later in the day, man, that's what we want.
You plan to tweak the conditioning test after what happened last year with Russ?
Again, you got to show up to find that out. I'm not going to display details about the conditioning test in this setting.
Last one. Cameron Johnson looks new and improved. What could you say about him coming back after the injury?
I just really appreciate his mindset regarding his rehabilitation, not only the things that you guys get to see out here, but throughout the process. Man, he stayed engaged all year. He was an asset to Corliss and others. He was ever present. He's a true professional, and I respect it.
All right. Thanks, Mike.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Mike.